I'm glad you guys found us tonight. A little bit of a different time, same fun, same excitement, same amazing all to new, just a little bit later. So hopefully we get some folks that are always like, oh goodness, I miss it because it's in the afternoon. And we always have the recordings. Don't forget if you're missing it or if you have to miss it one of these times, please remember there's always a recording that you can watch, but it is more fun live. And today we have the amazing Angel behind the badge. Hello, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. So excited to see you all. Now, I'm excited today. We're going to be playing with the blooming flower bed because it's just a super fun stencil and there's so much you could do with it. So super, super fun. Will you get a look? His name is now Dexter. We switched him over. He may appear. He sometimes does. He's starting to, but he has the bites because he's a baby. So, well, we don't pick him up if we don't have to. So. All right, so let's get started on our project. We will head on down and get to crafting because we are, don't we? But we, as at least 24 hours straight to it. All right, so here is stencil, and it makes little we can use. It's just a lot of made with the new trail. I've been phone, but nobody answered or calls me back. Okay, Angel will take care of that for you. They'll get right back to you. The customer absolutely amazing. Talk about that while we're doing this. But the inks, we're going to use some old ones tonight. Oldies, but goodies. Of course, some of my favorite. Sure, I picked that one tonight. Then I picked the oil because it's cold out to be nice and cozy. I'm not sure my voice. I'm not sure it's showing. I'm not sure. We're going to use the rock. Oh, okay, I'm not sure why. Oh, so let me turn my volume up just to work. We can plug that. So there we go. Better as okay. See. Okay, there. I just redid that. Will help. My volume's up. And is showing me that operating normally. Okay. Let me check with. Let me know if that is better. If that's not, let me know. I have a few tricks up my sleeve, but I don't have a lot of tricks up my sleeve, especially for volume. Not better. Okay. Let's see. Fortunately, all right, so let's try that. I've changed a few things. That back and see. Okay. Is that better? Yay! Yay! Woohoo! All righty. Okay. So then the other one, this was just extra. This was on my desk, but you know what? Sometimes those jump in. That's why good Angel has her angel wings and she saves us because she gets those right-hand turns. She is right on those because those wings help her fly. All right. Now, I always mention when I do stencils, that on the back of the packaging, it shows you the stencils included. And some people are like, why do you say that? Like, obviously, there are stencils included. However, they are all different. So if you, like me, lose your stencils or you put them in a big pile when you go to wash them and then you're like, oh, goodness, what does this go with? That's what this is handy for. I can look and it's like number one. I can match them up and I know it's with the right set. Oh, Tracy, I'm sorry. Yes, perfect. We will see you soon. And then, so the number 2 stencil, I can look on here and see I've got my little flower centers, my little decorative dots in there. And then the third one is my leaves. So if you ever have a pile of stencils and you're like, oh, shnikey, I don't remember what that goes to, check the back of your packaging because that is the secret to success. All right, so let's get going here. This is a fun one. This is one that's good for the detail blending brushes. If you are heavy-handed or you like to just go wild, which you guys know, sometimes I like to go wild as well. But I'm going to try to behave myself tonight. I'm going to try to do a controlled ink blending. Ha, 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 right? Me do something controlled. Nah, we got to have fun, right? As my father would say, you got to have the fun. All right, and thank goodness I have tape all over my desk. This is the satin masking tape, and mine is very loved because it works forever. It is the best tape I've ever used in my entire life. All right, so we're going to put this up here, and then we'll tape that down. This is a really old piece. That's why it's kind of curling, but that shows you how long I use this tape. I use it until it curls up, and it has nothing in it left to give me. And I'm going to align mine. I know, why behave yourself? It's no fun. I'm going to align mine up here in the corner, and I can even bring it down if I want to perfectly align my top left corner up there. It'll make it easier for me later because I'm using an A2 piece this time. We'll use a bigger one later, but right now I'm just using this one. So we're going to get started. And on the inside, if you want to look and you want to plan ahead, on the inside there, of course, is the layering guide. And it shows you what's going to color on each stencil. So you can go ahead and see, okay, so that's going to be all pink flowers. Or you could make, I think these look like X's. You could make the X's a certain color. You can make these little daisy looking ones a certain color. How do I know that? Because that's exactly what we gonna do. All right. We're going to have some fun. I think I'm going to do a couple different shades of orange, but I'm going to change it up. We're going to go wild because it's a crafty adventure. You have to go wild. It's a rule, I think, somewhere, right? That you have to go wild on crafty adventures. We even have some dies tonight, I think we're going to bring out. We're going to have some fun. All right. So now, because I get a little wild with the blending tools, just a scotch, I'm going to cover this piece up. And then I'm going to try to behave myself when I'm ink blending and not go too wild. But I get so excited to craft with you all, so sometimes I go a little too wild. Okay, so we're going to start with Sunkissed, okay? And I just want to do my little kind of big X's here, okay? And I'm going to try to leave alone. I think I got one of them. The little kind of cloud ones up here. I call them the floaty clouds. As you know, I have little nicknames for all the pieces. Sometimes they make sense, sometimes they don't. But I have them nonetheless. Do you guys do that? Do you name your stencils? Do you guys name your stencils? And yes, make sure you share if you are up to doing so. Make sure you share on Facebook and Instagram. There's a possibility of a $15 gift card to the shop, which is super duper exciting and fun. All right, so this one, we did Sunkissed. Now I'm going to do Autumn Blaze. This would be a fun one, too, to intermix the Frozen Delights and the Jewel Tones and all of those. This would be a fun one to try that out. Okay, so then I'm going to come over here. I'm just going to wiggle this is why my tape is loved, but I keep it because I just do this when I'm wiggling stuff around, trying to wiggle too much here. Hold on. There we go. All right, so now I'm going to go and do these ones in my Autumn Blaze. No. Okay. I just looked up and saw, no. Okay. All righty. So we got this. So we can take a peek. We can take a little sneaker peeker. There we go. So we're getting our flowers. In mine, if I don't get perfect coverage in a stencil, like on these little flowers, I'm okay because it gives it kind of a soft feel. And I like that. I like having a soft feel sometimes. Now we'll go to orange cream for these little daisy guys and gals or fellas or whatever they may be. So we'll go ahead and do that. All right, get these little daisies in there. And then you're on a good way. If you really wanted to turn this into a monochromatic card, you absolutely could. We've kind of set it up good. Call my supplies a name. Oh, no. We got to have loving names for our craft supplies. Loving names. So, step one, woot, woot, woot. Yay. Exciting, exciting. Okay. Then we find stencil number 2, which I thought I lost already. And we're going to line that up. Now, if you want to look at your guide, I'm putting it up in the right-hand corner because that's where I had my other one. So it should align. And I see that my little centers are in here. This one is kind of in there, a little bit out. I'm just kind of checking it as I go. Another thing I do sometimes I go really wild. Really, really, really wild. And I do the leaves first. Because sometimes you just need to do the leaves first. So I'll show you what I mean. So on some stencils, of course, can't do this because it wouldn't make sense with the stencil. But this is one of those that you absolutely can. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll up this horribly loved piece of tape and put it underneath on the bottom so that I can blend all around here. And then you may see a big melon come in here. And I do have a big one. They couldn't fit a Santa hat on my head the other day. So I was at work. Somebody was saying she wanted to call me Mrs. Claus because I was always so jolly and happy. And I'm like, aw, thank you. But then she couldn't fit the Santa hat on my head. So we have a huge one on the tree and at work. And so that stays up all year round. I'm like, I really might need that big one over there that's decorating the tree on my head. I have kind of a big melon. And I just realized, you guys are going to be shocked, I don't have a blending tool for rock collection. I know you don't believe me, but I don't. So I have to take one out. Brand new one. Isn't that exciting? The day. Look, it's so beautifully, perfectly crisp. It's waiting for all of your creativity. I'm so excited. All right, so now I have to use it because that's the whole point. All right, so we're going to go with Silverstone, which is from my amazing rock collection. And I don't want to do the flower centers. I just want to do the leaves. So I'm going to, quote unquote, be careful. And I say quote unquote, because you guys know sometimes I get ink blending. I have a chat and things go a little sideways. So, but that's okay. That's the beauty of crafting. And let's put a question to everybody out there. How many times have you had something go, quote unquote, sideways, but you've absolutely loved the effect that came out of it? So when you first did it, you're like, oh, goodness, what did I do? And then you were like, oh, thank goodness I did this. This was the best thing I ever could have done. So how many out there? Let me know if that happens to you. If you perchance have that, and then you're like, yay. It's a quick change. I know. It's shocking. Because you're like, oh, I messed it up and you're so sad. And then you do something to it. Sometimes it's a panel that went a little wrong. Maybe you used too much ink or you dropped your ink blender on there and it left a mark. And then you die cut it with a die. And it's gorgeous. And you're like, oh my gosh, this was the best quote unquote mistake I ever made in my crafty life. You guys had that happen out there? It can't just be me, right? It can't. I have to believe that there are more folks out there that this has occurred. All right, so I'm going to get those in there. And I think for my little flower stems as well, I think I'm going to use darker. I think I'm going to go up to the Industrial Diamond, which is in that same rock collection family, which I always say is my husband de Walteno because love it, love it, love it. It's my favorite. All right. And then, because we're getting a little tricky again, I don't want to color these dots. Okay. And I just have a little piece of tape. So I got to watch where I'm going here. And I kind of don't want to do those leaves. Happy accidents. Yes. That is the perfect phrasing for that. Perfect phrasing. I can't think of phrasing tonight. Everything I am thinking of for phrasing is like totally wrong. Totally wrong. All right. So we're going to do this. So we're getting all basically, they look like little dandelions falling from the sky to me. Again, I name all of these. Yours usually go in the bin. A lot of mine do, but sometimes I try to save them. It's usually on Saturdays when you guys are like, don't throw it away. And then I listen and you guys save my card, and I love my card, and it's just fantastic. So share it. If you have a card that you are like, oh, goodness gracious, maybe share it with a friend, because sometimes friends can see what we can't, because we all see something different when we look at cards. So share with a friend. All right, so now we're going to go back, and this is our beautiful fire brick. And we're going to do the flower centers with that. That's the darkest color in the Warm and Cozy family. And I'm being quote unquote careful as I put this on to not get any where it's not supposed to go. But I just did. So see, I shouldn't have mentioned it. I was doing so good. But I don't think it'll be ridiculously stick out. So I think we'll be okay. I got just a scotch. See right there? See right there? You can barely see it. So I'll go in, point out my error. So right here on the edge of my leaf. And I really could go in with my Silverstone again and put that on a little bit darker, and it will go away. But I just wanted you guys to see my flowers aren't perfect, okay? I didn't really block that color in on all of it. And still, I have a really pretty effect. And it's a very nice kind of dreamy effect. So if you have that happen, don't toss those cards in the bin, because you can have great things happen still with your card. Even if you're looking at it and going, oh goodness, that doesn't look how I want it to look. So now we're going to come back. Now, and the thing is, you could stop here. So we've done stencil 1 and stencil 3. Okay, we skipped over stencil 2. We said arrivederci to stencil 2. Now we're going back. We're heading on back. So we will do stencil 2, but just to show you, you don't have to. That would be a really pretty card just with what we've done. Now, the reason I like doing on this particular set, you guys may hear Dexter in the background because it is kitty rodeo time in Maine. I don't know if it's kitty rodeo time where you are, but here it is kitty rodeo time. So what I like about doing the leaves first is now I can see my flower centers very well. See those little orange dots poking through? I can see those phenomenally. So it's easier for my eye to line it up. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go in with orange cream on these ones. Now, there are some that I've already used orange cream, but that's okay. I'm going to go lighter on the fire brick ones, okay, where I can see those orange dots. I'm going to go a little bit lighter because I don't want to take away my fire brick. I like my fire brick. And you can move in between stencils. I usually don't. Once I leave a stencil, it's in my dust. I gotta move on. I got things I gotta do. So I usually move on from there. Oh, that's a good question. Is anybody rearranging their craft room from last week's sales? I know, those are my favorite. That's my favorite sale time at Altenew. My absolute favorite sale time. And then the ones that have dots, okay, these were the flowers that have dots. I'm going to go darker because those were the ones that I originally used my orange cream on. So I want it to be a little darker so that it has that effect. All right, so those are all my flower ones. Then I'm going to take this and I'm going to wipe off in the opposite direction of openings, because I don't want to pull. I'm going to use my seashore, and I don't want to pull that orange in when I've got my green blending tool. I don't want to pick that up accidentally, or my teal one. I don't want to pick that up on accident. Aren't they just adorable? They just want to make you smile. They're happy flowers. They're happy flowers. And I'm going to use Volcano Lake out of this set, which is funny because I always call it the Lagoon set. So you would think I would reach for Lagoon, but I want to have with this light kind of motif we have going with the gray and the orange. I want to keep it kind of, kind of light. We're having a good time here. So we're going to put some little light teal on there. Don't want too much. We don't want it to be overwhelming. It really is, and I think it's fun because I think you can use each of the stencils on their own. And I love that in a stencil set when you can use it on its own. I love pushing my supplies to do more than one thing for me. I want them to work for me. So there's our first project. This one we can't cut up. We just can't. We're going to trim off because we have that little edge where we, lined up our stencil. So we're just going to trim that bit off. That's all we're going to trim off. And then we're going to have a card because we can't cut this one off. The next one we're going to have to. So I'm just warning you guys out there, no matter how cute it is, we have to trim up the next one for the project that I want to do with you guys. So we have this one. So we'll set this one aside. So now we're going to take the big piece, the big fella, as I call him, the big fella. We're going to take him and we're going to get him into position and we're going to go again. Okay, we're going to go again. Now, I didn't really wipe this off well, so I'm going to wipe this off just on my desk because, why not? And then later I'll flip over the card panel that we're going to work on together and I'll wonder where all the orange ink came from. You guys can remind me. That would look cute with butterflies. That would make good butterflies. See, look at all the ideas that are percolating already. That's why I love crafting with this crowd. Amazing ideas, amazing. Okay, so now what we're going to do, we're going to change it up a little bit. Because now I want to use the teal. Now I really want the teal. So let's go ahead and let's be rule followers. I know you guys that it's really me. I haven't been kidnapped. It's not somebody else speaking for me. I know you guys think I have been because we're going to follow the rules of a stencil. It's very unlike me, but we're going to do it. We got to try something new once in a while, right? We got to follow rules. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to follow the rules. And they're not really rules, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to ink this whole thing with one color. Okay, so that's the rule I'm talking about. Not really a rule, but we're going to follow the instructions. Let's say that. We're going to follow the instructions. There, I like that better. All right. Since we're following instructions, we'll start with Mountain Mist, which is from that seashore again. So I'm going to go really light because I had the volcano lake on there and I want my Mountain Mist for my little flowers here. And so I just want to be careful not to get them too dark with the leftover of the volcano lake on there. That's a really good idea about the butterflies. That's genius. I love it. Now, if this is too light for you, you can always start with the volcano lake. As you saw, the volcano lake's a scotch darker, so that's okay. All right. And this takes a little bit longer doing it with a small blending tool, but that's okay. It's all right. That way you don't have to keep changing blending tools. I would rather spend a couple extra minutes and just go tootle along, as my grandmother used to say, tootle along on my stencil and use my favorite blending tool. This is my fave. I just love it. It gets into such amazingly small areas beautifully. I find I reach for this one more than any. Like, these don't leave my desk. The other ones are in a drawer because they're bigger, but also I always reach for these. If I can, I will. They are good size. Do we have any favorites out there of the blending brushes? Anybody have a favorite blending brush that they're like, oh yeah, it's the small one. That never leaves my desk. Let's see what you guys think out there. Okay, so here's our image. Okay. So we'll move that. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do my leaves next. because I just find it's easier for me to line that up because I can see, oh, hit my head. I can see it's on the centers of the flowers there. Okay, I check my placement just to be sure that I like it before I commit. Okay, it's like trying on the jeans before you leave the store. You're making sure you're liking them. All right, so I like my placement so much. I'm putting two pieces down there. And I think this time we're going to go wild. Just because we're going in line with instructions doesn't mean we can't go wild. So we are going to go and use Autumn Blaze for our color. Now I'm going to go lighter with it because I don't want a super duper dark. That's not the goal that I'm looking to achieve. So we're going to go just kind of light. You know, you could blend on really deep and put some pressure on your blending tool. And then you could have, you know, that deep, rich Autumn Blaze color. But I just want, I'm kind of feeling a pastel-y kind of mood tonight. And then here. So everything's getting orange. Like on the other one, I went through and I did separate pieces. This one, I'm just going ahead and I'm doing it all one color. So we're just going to use essentially 3 colors on here. Mini, the 1/2 inch, but I want to try to figure out. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And it's hard. I think that's the hardest part is, you know, finding storage that works for you. I know I struggle with that because we all have different. I know autocorrect. I'm pretty good at deciphering, speaking autocorrect, as I've said. My friend will send me messages and I understand what she's saying, and she doesn't even type to do it anymore. She just knows that I understand and speak autocorrect. So I think it is an acquired language, autocorrect. Oh, at least I'm proud I can decipher what she's saying. So I'm super stoked by it. So I think that's the other great thing is even if you just have a couple of ink families at this point, if you're slowly building up your stash, no worries. You can make Autumn Blaze like a nice, look how light of a color that is. And then compare it to over here. This was the Autumn Blaze. So look at the difference you can get just by the pressure that you put onto your blending tool. Okay. So it really, again, you're stretching your inks and you're also stretching your stencil. And the great thing about lining them up in the corner is a lot of times when you use stencils like this, you'll be all set. Okay, I'm a little off right there, but that's normal. I'm usually a little off center. I've heard that's what's so endearing, is I'm a little off center. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead. Oh, the tough decision. I think we're gonna go ahead. I'm trying to decide. Let's put it for a vote. It's too difficult for me to decide. So I'm going to put the tough decision on you guys. Do we go with Lagoon or do we go with Industrial Diamonds? So these are our two choices. Put an I or an L in the chat, my loves. And we will go with the first few. Oh, goodness. That's a rough one. It's a good story, though. I'll have to share that one with my friend. So, yes, an L or an I in the thingamajiggy. Okay, we got one of each. We got an L and an I. L and an I. All right. I know that's where I was leaning, Angel. That's where I was leaning, but I didn't know. Oh, 2 L's, 2 I's, 3 I's, one more, the L. Okay, the L takes it. All righty then. Okay, so let's go. I don't know. I'm in a tealy kind of mood today. So oh goodness. And I have a cat trying to use my heat tool. That could be our next question. Do your animals use your crafting supplies? Because I know mine do. All right. So because I did the orange, I may have to go back and do that. But I'm just going to go light here. I'm just going to go light with my Lagoon here. And then here we're going to go super dark. The little dots, we're going to go super duper dark. We're going to let that lagooniness shine on through. Okay, and flower centers, we're going to go dark. It was just the ones that have the orange in the middle. I should have gone a little bit lighter, but that's okay. That's okay. We can put the other stencil back on and just redo those. It'll be lickety split. And we were following rules this time, and I did jump ahead of stencil, but that's the way that it goes. All right, so here, just gonna go ahead. Oh, I'm glad you like that. I know, I've tried to put out the memo that people need to understand work. Like people that force us to work, they know. Crafty time, guys, crafty time. Oh, and luckily I just have my little lagoony one here. So I'm just going to come in and, I thought I had enough on there. I probably could pick some up from my other ink blending here. I'll drag some down from up north here. There we go. Usually up north you just get snow. I get lagoon. Oh, goodness. I know adulting does that, doesn't it? Yes. Okay. So there's our panel. And you know what? I'm not mad at the flower centers. I'm okay with that. I can live with that. Hopefully you are okay with that too. All right, so we're going to put our little lagoony fella back, and then we'll move this. And now, so we're done with the stenciling. So I'm going to set those aside. And I'm sure I'll have to remember my trick I just taught you of looking at the packaging to remember where the stencil came from at some point. All right, and then of course we put our little ink cube back. But I think we might use that again, so we'll see. So what we're going to do, because we have this beautiful, big, huge panel, we're going to take out our Caps Bold Alpha, because this is my fave. This is my favorite alphabet. This and Mighty Alpha. Those two, I struggle. But when I want to do a sentiment on a panel like this, these are my go-to, absolute go-to. Love, love, love. They are just my fave. Okay, so I'm just going to see. I don't think we can fit thanks. We could with the Mighty Alpha, but that's not the aesthetic that I had in mind. So, when you get an idea in your head and you're like, oh, the thinner alpha just wasn't playing in my brain tonight. Oh, yes, these are the mega numbers. Altenew has, I keep my Caps Bold Alpha and my mega numbers on there. These are awesome. Awesome, awesome. Okay, so thanks won't fit. So let's do my tried and true, hey. May have to do your wallpaper that way. Hey, it would be pretty. It would be very pretty. Okay, so what we're going to do, I'm going to do a square card tonight. Well, one. I'm going to do one square card. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. This is one of those color combos. When I come into my office and I'm like, I need a project. I have to make something. What am I doing? This is my go-to for a color, because I feel like if I have a color combo that really speaks to me, everything else will fall in place. So that's why I like to have a few of these color combos that really super duper speak to me. All right, so I don't want to scare anybody, but I'm getting a ruler. So don't be afraid, my friends. I know we don't usually do such things. This is a ruler. I never use them, but this is a ruler. Oh, goodness. They're scary. When those come out, I'm like, no. I don't measure with my cards. No. Wrong girl, wrong rodeo. Nope. So, but today we're gonna be tough. We're gonna be tough together. I can do it because I'm with my friends. I can be tough. Okay, I'm trying to get this straight-ish. All right, and then we'll just kind of put my rolly tape up there. All right, and then we're gonna get this about here. And then I just want to hold this down because otherwise they'll scoop. I know this is for all my folks across the pond. I'm making a square card because I love you all so much. And I'm saying, hey, there we go. All right, so we're going to do this and then we're going to wiggle a little bit. We're going to wiggle a little bit. And the beautiful thing about this mat, and I apologize today, I did not put it on the supplies. I remembered Scotch after I sent an email. I remembered, and I'm like, oh, shoot. I love this mat because I can look and see, okay, I've got an inch right here, and I've got an inch right here. I'm in pretty good position. I got about 1, 2 1/4, 1, 2-ish. So I'm a little off, but again, that's where I survive best. So that's okay. And then I just want to make sure my letters are as lined up as I'm going to get them. Okay, so we got those two there. And then we got this big guy over here who we might sneak in just a scotch. Just a scotch. Let's see. All right, and then I'm going to tape it up there. Now, the reason I'm not taping it on the bottom is because I want to kind of give an eyeball, a hairy eyeball, and it looks like they're lined up pretty good. Okay, that's the straight line right there, and they're pretty close. Cleopatra. Oh, I like that name. And then we get the die cut machine, and we got to get the big fella today because we're doing the big fella. So the big fella requires the big fella. Alrighty, so now we can remove this because I've put my dies in place. And I'm going to be super careful because I've been super confident that they were stuck down before and I was good. I was wrong. Absolutely wrong. So I'm very careful as I'm putting it onto my plates. Okay, and then we got the big fella here. He's on the scene. He's ready to go. So open his doors here. All right, then going on a vacation as Dexter, I think, tried to jump in the trash can and it did not work out so well for Dexter. But that's what's going on in the background. So we'll go ahead and we'll get this set. All right. And then put that on the floor. Okay. Then I'm going to remove the tape off there. I need some little tape removal music. All right. So then we have the hey, we're all cut out. So then what you have a couple of different options of ways you can go. I think, oh, it's a tough decision. I would say some glitter paper would look lovely behind there. I don't know what color though. So you know what? We're going to do this. I'm going to go with the beautiful gold cardstock. I know all of you are super shocked. I don't know how the copper, ooh, that might be pretty. Maybe we try that. We're spitballing here, you guys, which doesn't sound very nice, but it is nice because we're creating as we go, which is very, very fun. Okay. Yes, well, we're not going to do inlay. You could do inlay, so you could do like an offset. We're not going to do inlay. We're going to use these on a different card, so we're going to get a twofer. So I'm wondering, yeah, how the copper might. I was thinking completely the gold, but I think the copper actually really works well with our choices. But we ain't going to waste this. That's not something we're going to do. We're going to trim that down because we're not going to waste all that glorious paper. Now, if you want to, what you can do is you can bring your letters over and measure, and it's about 2 inches, okay? And also, the other thing you can do, because it's on the mat, is you can just line it up on one of the solid white lines, and you have 1, 2, okay? And then you're going 1, 2, 3. So it's about 2 by 3. So what I'm going to do, though, because I don't trust myself, is I'm going to cut this at about 2.5, I think, just to be safe. And if not, I have that bigger piece. Yes, thank you, Angel. I went rogue. I always go rogue. I like to go rogue. And then we're going to do some of the Instant Dimension foam tape, which mine is right over here. I have a new roll, you guys, a new roll. I'm so excited about it. All right, we got the big fella. The big fella. There's a lot of big fella today. No little fellas today. A lot of big fella. Big fella. He takes up the whole scene. All right, it finally came to be that time that we had to open the big fella. All right, there we go. Yeah, that, and I struggle. I feel like I struggle with copper. I feel like, but I've been designing with it a lot lately, and I've been rocking it. I've been feeling good about my designs. That's what I mean when I say I rocked it, meaning I feel good about my design. And I'm pretty stoked about it, because copper was not one that I really firmly identified with, like gold. I can use gold in a hot second. I love gold. I work well with gold. I love it. And so it's nice to have a different, metallic that I feel, and silver I feel confident in. So it's nice to have another metallic that I feel super confident in. So now I'm just putting this about 1/4 of an inch down there. Okay, I'm going to bring the camera in just a scotch. Yes, this tape is absolutely fantastic. It is phenomenal. Best. Oh, see, and I'm wiping this all over where I had the orange paper. So I remembered, let me put it on this because I don't want to ruin it at this point. I've die cut the letters. We've made it this far. Okay, so we're going to do that. And then I'm just going to line over here. I'm making just a little house, essentially, for the paper to sit on. I just don't want the tape to be visible from the looky-loo window there. So I'm setting it back a bit. It doesn't have to be perfectly lined up, but I'm setting it back just a little bit. It doesn't have to go. I'm not making a shaker card. Usually I only make these square cards when I make shaker cards, so I'm going back to what I know. All right, so we'll put that in again. I don't need to do that. I can put it over here. I just don't want, if you look down on the card, I don't want the tape to be visible, which if it is, it's no biggie. It's not a big consideration. Okay, so we're going to peel this off, and we're just throwing this paper everywhere. We're going wild. All right, and it doesn't matter. There's nothing to line up, essentially. As long as we cover the opening, it's not like you have lines that you have to get in perfect. So here is our first card. Woot, woot. Okay, then we have this other one that we're going to work on as well. So I think what we're going to do, I think we're going to cut some of the letters out of the copper. Let's see. I think we will do that. It's always the question. I love creating with you guys because we kind of create as we go. And what's better than that, my dear friends? Okay. And I think, too, if you wanted to skip the dots, I think some enamel dots would look super, super adorable on there. You could even put some on the flowers right here. I think that would look super cute if you wanted to have like a dimensional component to your project. There's always ways that you can add a little dimension to your project, whether it's foam tape or the enamel dots. These letters, bring one over. So when it's die cut, okay, this is 1 inch. So it's 1 3/4 by 1 inch. So they're 1 inch wide and about 1 3/4 inches tall. These are just, besides the Mighty Alpha, I do love me the Mighty Alpha. I do. When I said this was my favorite, the Mighty Alpha like popped into my head, and I'm like, oh, I can't forget about you. I love you too. So I had to readdress my statement there, and I'm gonna put my H this way because there is a little bit of a line on this cardstock, so I don't want that to come into play, and one of them looks like it's going the opposite direction because it is. So we'll do this. All right, then put that through. Isn't this cute? Isn't he adorable? He's just adorbs. The little mini blossom. Just absolutely adorbs. And I love the gold. Of course, love the gold. All right. Yes, I didn't plan on having him come out to the party tonight too. We're having all of our Altenew friends over tonight. It's an exclusive party for Altenew buddies. All right. So then we're going to take this. And you could, I'm looking at the time and I may not make it to do the letters on another one. So let me see. I think I have a panel right here that is embossed with the deck planks. I'll just do the back of it to show you what you could do. Because you could always layer. Okay, you could do this, and you could always layer these onto a card like this. So this is one option you can go with, okay, where you put that and you have the drop shadow essentially. So you can do that. But for this one, we're going to go ahead and we're just going to do the copper on there. And we have a roll of foam tape bigger than our head, so we should use it. And apparently for me, that's saying something because I have a big melon apparently. So, and even I can say that. So that's exciting. All right, so we're going to trim this down. And I love that you can use like chunkier pieces on these alphas because they're nice chunky boys. They're a chunky boy. Okay, which I like. But sometimes I cut some chunky foam tape. Okay. We'll get that on there. And the thing is, too, you also don't have to do, I do like every piece, and I'm worried about it, and all of that. You don't really have to do that either. You can just put it there. Emery is probably likely going to come say hello for folks, just so you know. If you see some fur sneaking on screen, that will be her. Because she loves her Altenew and her Altenew friends as well, and she loves to share with all of us. I wouldn't mind if I went a little over. Oh, you guys are so sweet. And I'm shocked that didn't come from Saskia. Saskia is usually the first one to say that. She always says, we can go all night. That's okay. So it's always good to have crafty friends that are like, let's craft the night away. Because as you know, I love to craft with all of you very, very much. I get so excited. I lose track of my mind. I just focus on the crafting and that's it. And it's super duper fun. All right. So this one, and then my hay, I'm just going to lay in place because it's actually the back of a different card. So, because my deck planks, I didn't get it before. And quite honestly, my back is out today. So that's why you might hear me pausing for a second. It grabs, and let me tell you, it takes the breath right out of you. But that's okay. Today we're crafting. That's all that matters. So this is going to go on here. Now, what I like to do as well, I also like to use the sentiment strips to put on. So like if I'm doing the hay, I might put a small portion. Saskia fall asleep during crafting. Never. That's not possible. I like to use some coordinating things, and you can just stamp part of a sentiment. You don't have to use the whole thing, but the sentiment strips are kind of good for that. You can pick out, like to you or happy birthday. You don't have to use the whole sentiment. You can just pick and choose out of the stamps and kind of make them work for you, which is what we love, isn't it? All right, and I just stuck together my E and my H, and hopefully I can peel them apart without too much damage. But at least I'll be able to show you guys the card, even if I do damage it. I shouldn't have pulled off the backings. That was trouble. I should have known. I should have known. Okay, there. Well, my E is a little less beautiful, but I can always just cut another one. As you guys know, I'm sure you guys have had that happen, where they stick to each other or something. I can just cut another one and put it right over the top. So what we're going to do is we're going to line this up on our mat. Okay, and then I'm going to line it up actually right next door to this one. I know it's a scotch off screen, but if you don't mind, I'm not going to hit the button because that hurts a little bit. Okay, so I'm just going to line these up. And I'm not going to push these down. As you can see, my E was a little roughed up in translation, but like I said, I can just trim. I can trim out another one, pop it on top, and only you guys will know. And I know you guys aren't telling that, hey, she had to cut 2 E's. I know nobody's telling my secrets here. I know we had to keep our crafty secrets. Oh, thank you, Joni. Thank you. So, okay, so we got that. So here's that one right there. And my E it has a little character. And then for the final one that I'll show you tonight, this is again the back of a different card. But what I would do is I would just take these that are the cutouts from our square card, and I would just put these on here because I think it's very subtle and it gives you a very cool, subtle look. So I think it gives you a few different looks that you can use. All right. Haha, I forgot my camera had a button. It's right in front of me. I didn't even have to lean over there those times. Okay, so we have, let me just slide that up a scotch. Move that over. Slide that up over there. Slide that one up there. And slide this one over kind of here. It's going to buddy up to its friends because he is the big fella of the evening and he takes up the show. So, but those are the cards tonight that we made with the beautiful blooming flower bed and the Cat's Bold Alpha dies. They make a lovely little, they're good friends. They work well together. So I hope that, yeah, you could ink the edges of your letters if you wanted to. Yep, absolutely. Or you could also, like I said, drop set or offset with the copper behind that, because that will look really, that'll give you that kind of, pardon the, the things not going together because we use a little bit of different colors, but that'll give you just that little bit, or you could put it up or down or over to the side. So that would look really pretty too if you just cut another set, and that may be actually what I do, cut another set of those beautiful copper with the ink colors that we used this evening. That copper is just absolutely stunning. And we made a beautiful square card for all of our friends across the pond, which I absolutely love to do. Once in a while, it's not a strong suit. I'm so used to that A2 panel size at this point. But hey, we got to branch out. We got to try new things. All right. So I will pop up to say hello. Well, I guess it's more goodbye because I've already said hello for the evening. So it would be more of a goodbye than a hello. But I will show you my mug one last time, I guess, is the sentiment behind that. I hope you guys try this amazing stencil set. If you do, please post in the Alt New fan group. We love to see what you make. And as always, from all of us at Alt New, thank you so much for allowing us to help you craft your life. We'll see you very, very soon. Until then, happy crafting, my friends.